Welcome to Assembly Bethesda On Air. I am Hayne Fogarty, and today we're going to turn our attention to a single, steady truth that runs through the whole of Scripture, and honestly, through the whole of the Christian life, and that is the eternal invitation to walk with God. Now, I think it's easy to dismiss invitation as something temporary, right? Like a limited time offer that expires when the mood changes or when life gets tough. But here's the thing. This invitation is eternal because the one who issues it is eternal. God doesn't grow tired of calling. He doesn't suddenly withdraw his hand when I responded slow or when we stumble. He remains, and so the call remains with him. From the very opening movements of Genesis, we see this incredible pattern. God walks in the garden. He seeks. He calls by name. What's interesting is that the human response is often fear or even hiding, yet the call itself does not cease. That same unwavering pattern continues through the long, winding story of Israel, through the prophets, through the coming of Christ himself, and right through the ongoing life of the church today. The invitation, my friends, is consistent. It's simple, yet profound. Walk with me.
So, what does walking with God truly mean? Is it about reaching some destination on a map, checking off a spiritual to-do list? Not primarily, no. It's about companionship. It's about the steady, unwavering presence of the living God in every single part of our existence, both the ordinary, mundane moments and the incredibly difficult, challenging places. You see, the Christian life has never been a promise of unbroken ease, has it? We all know that. It has always included valleys, shadows, and sometimes those long, quiet seasons of silence. And you know what? That's okay. This is where I find a lot of comfort in what we might call Gothic sensibility. Now, don't let that term throw you. It's simply an honest attention to darkness and beauty held together. It helps us name that reality without pretending it's something else. It allows us to acknowledge that the night exists. The struggles are real. The pain is valid. But the invitation, that eternal call to walk, still stands firm inside the night. It's not about escaping the darkness. It's about walking with him through it. That's a powerful distinction, don't you think?
Scripture gives us so many beautiful pictures of this walk, proving it's not a new concept. Think about Enoch. The language is so simple, yet so profound. Enoch walked with God. Their connection was so close that his transition from earth to God's presence was seamless. Then there's Noah, who walked with God in a generation that had completely forgotten him. Or Abraham, who walked by faith toward a land he couldn't yet see, trusting God every step of the way. Moses walked through the wilderness, guided by a cloud by day and fire by night. Even King David, walking through the valley of the shadow of death, could still speak of the comforting rod and staff of God. The prophets walked with a message that often cost them dearly. And of course, Jesus himself walked the dusty roads of Galilee and Judea, then walked the agonizing road to the cross. After his resurrection, he walked with disciples who didn't even recognize him at first, and their hearts burned as he opened the scriptures to them. The pattern, my friends, is undeniably clear. God invites, and people respond by placing their lives in motion toward him. And let's be honest, the response is never perfect, is it? We stumble, we complain, we doubt, we sometimes turn aside. Yet, the invitation never evaporates. It just continues. In our own day, that invitation, believe it or not, has not changed one bit. What has changed? The noise around us has absolutely increased. Distractions multiply at an alarming rate. The sheer pace of life can make the idea of a quiet walk with God feel almost impossible, can't it? We often think, how can I possibly make space for that? But here's the crucial point. The call is not dependent on our external conditions. It's dependent on the character of God himself. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Therefore, the invitation remains steadfastly the same. To walk with God means to cultivate attentiveness. It means intentionally making space to hear. For me, and I believe for all of us, The scriptures are the primary place where that hearing happens. Reading them isn't just a religious duty, it's the opening of a conversation God has already begun. And prayer? That's our heart's response. Sometimes it's many words, sometimes few, sometimes the honest admission that words won't come. The walk includes both speaking and listening, both movement and stillness. And remember, there's no requirement that your soul feels constantly inspired. Feelings rise and fall, but the invitation is deeper. It's rooted in the settled reality of God's presence. Even on dry days, the walk continues by simple obedience.
Now, while this walk is deeply, profoundly personal, community is absolutely part of it. Here's a thought. The church isn't a substitute for your personal response, but it is the company of those who have also heard the invitation and are learning to walk alongside you. Shared worship, shared scripture, shared prayer, and shared service. All of these things strengthen our individual steps on this path. It's like having fellow travelers on a long journey, offering encouragement and accountability. We might be walking our own path, but we're not walking it alone. It's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? And practically, what helps us keep walking? Simple yet powerful habits. Regular, consistent time in the Word. Honest prayer, even when it's just a sigh. Paying attention to those small, beautiful evidences of grace that appear even in hard seasons. I mean, really looking for them. And a willingness to confess when you've strayed from the path, coupled with the willingness to simply begin again. These aren't rigid rules, my friends. They are the natural shape of a life that is actively, intentionally responding to this incredible eternal call from God. They become the rhythm of our journey. This consistent response to God's invitation, it produces real, tangible change over time. It's not always dramatic or even visible to others, but I can tell you, it is profoundly real. Old fears loosen their grip. The intense need to control outcomes softens. A quieter, more resilient confidence grows, rooted not in our strength, but in the unwavering faithfulness of our companion. This confidence isn't loud. It simply remains steady when circumstances shift. However, let's be honest, there will be times when the path feels incredibly steep, when the fog is thick, when the only light is a thin line on the horizon. These moments challenge us deeply. But here's the absolute truth. The invitation does not disappear in those times. In fact, it becomes the very thing that keeps our feet moving forward. The decision to keep walking, even through those challenging times, is itself a profound act of faith, an act of quiet courage. Remember, God moves first. God calls first. God remains faithful first. Our part? It's simply to answer, to step, to continue. And that answer is possible because the one who invites also supplies the strength to respond. This isn't a solitary achievement, but a response to grace, always. In the end, this invitation is an invitation into life with God. Not a life of religious activity for its own sake, but a life of deep relationship. That relationship, my friends, is the very heart of the gospel. Christ came so that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And here's the key. The abundant life is not measured by the absence of difficulty. No, it's measured by the powerful presence of the living God, right in the middle of whatever comes our way, the good, the bad, and the truly ugly. That's a game changer, isn't it? So the call continues today. It echoes in the quiet of early morning and resonates in the noise of midday. It continues in seasons of clarity and in seasons of confusion. It continues for the one who has walked for decades and for the one who is only now beginning to listen. The path is open. The companion is faithful. The invitation is eternal. We'll return to this theme from many angles in the days ahead, but the center remains the same. God invites. The soul is free to answer. The walk begins, continues, and one day will be completed in the full presence of the one who called. Thank you for joining me today. As always, it is a pleasure to spend this time with you. God bless, and until next time, courage. If you like what I do here, head on over to www.assembly